Second agreement, don't take anything personally. Now that's really good because we live in a chaotic world, a chaotic society, and there's always things happening. For example, I was in the car the other day, minding my business, and a car behind me was driving so close. I'm like, dude, like, if I'm not driving fast enough for you, just go around. But in all of that, I'm not angry. I don't feel a little type of way about it. I'm just doing my own thing. Anyways, he comes around the sides of me and gives me a big one, right? And I literally laugh at him because I'm like, what are you so mad about? Are you mad because I didn't get over when you feel like I should have? Like, what's the issue? Okay. Of course, I didn't flick the middle finger back off to him because it was pointless. I wasn't upset about anything. Having have read this book and have been into it a little bit, I really was like, wow, dude, you have issues. You're really angry on the inside, right? You're mad. You're mad at yourself. So in the book, Don Miguel Ruiz explains that whatever anybody says or whatever anybody does is simply a reflection of what they have going on in their internal world. All right. So that's whether somebody gives you a compliment, okay, or whether somebody says something to you that is distasteful. It is all reflections of their own experiences. Brother Panic says it in one of his videos of him talking that we have to be indifferent, You can't be overtaken with somebody singing your praises because when the exact opposite happened, because the exact opposite will happen, it's the law, you know what I'm saying? It's good to stay at an even keel, to not take anything personally because anything somebody says or does is simply a reflection of them. And when you take offense when someone does or says anything to you, then that means you agree, okay? You have made an agreement to say, whatever that person said, I agree with it, and that's why it makes me upset. Or I agree with it, and that's why it makes me happy, right? This is so good because when you're out in the store, when you're in the car, when you're doing any of the regular things that you do and someone does something or says something that makes you feel some type of way, it causes you to pause, think, why is this affecting me? What agreements or what programs are running in my mind, in my heart, in my body? What is actually running that I didn't have awareness of until this person did or said this thing, right? This agreement makes you understand what you have going on, right? It's so important. It goes back into you have to challenge yourself. You have to do that self-investigation to understand where you are mentally, spiritually, emotionally. What agreements have you made, right? And when something taps into your emotions and makes you feel some type of way or causes you confusion, it will be a sign to you, wow, there's some agreement that I made along the way that I need to address. Alrighty? So don't take anything personally because it's never about you. And the fact that you want to make these situations about you is kind of asshole-ish. He kind of explains that in the book. Of course, he didn't use those words. But from my understanding of my interpretation, for you to take everything as it is you kind of holding yourself like up here. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, next thing that I thought that was so good that he said in the book is that our minds is capable of perceiving information from higher realms, right? We already know this. This is what we call channels. This is what we call talking to spirit. This is what we call communicating with other entities. Our minds is capable of communicating with higher realms and higher levels. Now, the awesome thing about that he explained was that we don't have to agree with the thoughts that come even into our minds. We don't even have to take some of the crazy thoughts that we have personally. We don't even have to take those. You have to understand that all the thoughts that you have, they're not necessarily yours, right? Some of them do stem from you and your programming and where you've come from, what you have been taught to think and do. But a lot of them are coming from something outside of you, and your mind is just able to perceive it. For example, people having psychic abilities and such. Like, there has been times where I have been able to communicate with somebody telepathically, and I knew that it wasn't my thoughts. I'm hearing the thoughts of someone else, right? And I can choose in that moment to agree with it and take those thoughts as my own, or to disagree with it and let those thoughts pass. That's so important, especially in this time of, in the media, there's a whole bunch of information about mental health. It's like going crazy right now, right? And I think one of the major problems and one of the major reasons people think that they're mentally ill is because they have these thoughts that are from other entities and they claim them as their own, right? And so these entities, if you're going to vibrate with it, if you're going to make it your own, that's exactly what they want you to do, right? So it's so important to not take anything personally. Do not take the actions, the thoughts, the words of other people personally, okay? And sometimes you cannot even take the thoughts that come into your mind personally. We've all had some crazy ass thoughts where we're like, hold on, wait, that wasn't me. I don't want it. It's not true. Send it back wherever it came from, right? And so that's another thing that he described in the book is whenever you put out something, or say somebody says some negative words about you, whenever you are not in agreement with those words, you send it back to the sender like tenfold. They get it even worse, okay? So it's so important to not take things personally. If you take something personally, then deep down inside, a part of you agrees. And it is up to you to do the self-investigation and see where along your life, where in your matriculation did you agree with that thought process? And then that way you can do the work that you need to do in order to change it. Like I said, whenever you are learning something new, diving into new information, or refreshing yourself on older information, a test, an example, something is going to come up in order to see if you really understand and if you got it, right? And so what happened with me was my mom wanted me and my children to do something that she wanted us to do. Mind you, my mom is a great person. She is a great mother, and she loves strongly. And sometimes that love can turn into control, right? And so all my life and into my adulthood, I had been doing the work on breaking that control that she had over me. And it wasn't, and as he explains in the book, it wasn't her. She's just being herself and living her life in the way that she wants to live it and how she perceives this world. It was up to me to decide if I agree or if I disagree and what I want to do with what she gives me or what she tells me. So just a couple of days ago, she's like, oh yeah, I want y'all to do this. Something came in my mind and in my spirit that said that I didn't want to do it. All right. And so when I called her to be like, Mom, nah, it's not going to work out, she automatically had a solution for the issue or for the reason why it wasn't going to work out. And she wasn't really listening to what I was saying. And me, being her child and having the experiences and the programming that I had, I said, okay. But deep down inside, I knew that now wasn't the time for me to do what she had wanted me to do. All right. And so after that conversation to where she kind of enforced her will on me to do what she wanted me to do, I was kind of just going back and forth with it, having this debate in my mind about if I was going to do it or if I was not going to do it, you know? Even though my spirit had already said that right now is not the time, all right? But that programming, right, that agreement that I had made with myself, and the agreement was, if my mom asks or tells me to do something, I do it. If I don't do it, she's gonna be mad, I'm gonna feel guilty. That was the agreement that I had made in the past, but I am a totally different person. I'm in a totally different place in space, in mind, and in spirit. So these days have been going by, and I have been talking to my love about it, and he told me a truth, and I knew it was truth because I felt some type of way about it, right? I took it personally. He was like, babe, this being indecisive is not going to work. You already know what you want to do because you already told me what you want to do. And right now, you being indecisive about it is saying that your mom still has some level of control over you. Ooh. My heart. Oh, it hurt. It didn't hurt. It was just like, oh, you really gonna tell me that right now? But it was the truth. It was the truth. And that's why I took it personally. It was an agreement. It was true. Having that awareness allowed me to be like, you know what? After I had to take a shower and blow some steam off, I was like, okay, you know what, babe? You're right. And with that being said, I'm going to stay true to who I am right now. I'm not going to go back into that old programming and feel guilty because I don't want to do what her, my grandmother, or whoever else doesn't want me to do. I got to stand firm on who I am. And so what this agreement, don't take anything personally, taught me is that, one, you have to trust yourself. You have to trust yourself. In order for you to trust yourself, you have to know and understand what is ego, left brain, and what is your spirit, your higher self, right brain. In order for you to know that, you have to partake in a spiritual practice, period. Meditation, yoga, visualization, Tai Chi, read a book. You have to do something that challenges your thinking. You have to do something that challenges your spirit, that rouses up some emotions in you, that makes you have to sit with yourself a little bit. Okay? Trust yourself. Follow your intuition. If something happens that is unpleasant and you are overtaken with the emotions of that thing, on some level on some level, whether on a major scheme or a small scheme, you agree, right? Monica told us, don't take it personal. Personal. Don't take it personal because it's not about you. It's not about you. Even some of the thoughts that you have are not about you. All right? And if you take them personal, then somewhere within you, you agree with those thoughts, or you want those thoughts to manifest. Somewhere within you, you agree with that person, right? Or you agree with that action. All right? Don't take anything personal. Peace.